just trying to understand that hoga kya. Let's understand. How does the telecom sector work? I'll just urge our viewers to be with me. They have towers, and then you have what are called as dark cables. Data goes through dark cables and through the tower, which means they have to have on-ground presence. Starlink has space presence. The data gets transmitted or circulated largely by satellite and they have limited ground presence. So there is going to be a big change in the infrastructure requirement. So if Starlink becomes big, and I don't think Starlink is going to be mass market or Starlink is really going to be something very large. It's a different technology. Now with this different technology, 5G to 6G, 6G to 7G, what happens to the capex and what happens to the requirement in terms of funneling everything there, that will change. And second, what will happen to tower companies like Indus Tower as the prominence of Starlink will increase, we need to figure it out. So one, respite for Bharti and Jio. Why? Because Starlink is not coming independent. Second, it will change the way how the overall technology would move. Third, it will be a slow start, but markets would start worrying about companies which are in the telecom infrastructure space. That's my space. Amnish, do you agree with that? That more than Bharti and Jio, we need to now figure out how the telecom infrastructure in India would move. I mean, Indus Tower, Tejas, wire companies.
Yeah, so Nikunj, I agree with you on that front, but we also need to look at that. For example, when Starlink went to, say, Africa, and they went to the remote areas. So it was more, you can say, targeting at remote areas. In fact, there have been many defense applications which have been used by, you can say, using this technology. Now, what happens is that in those countries, for example, you look at the overall subscriber base, so it is more being used as a, you can say, home internet or office, so all the enterprise kind of a work. That is one. So definitely it is not going to be at the mass level. But at the same time, it also, you can say, removes to some extent setting up of a ground level infra in the remotest parts of the country. Now, if you look at India, I think still there might be, you can say, some areas, but definitely it depends upon how the technology scales up in future, because the countries where it is quite prominent today, there they have been facing the spectrum of the bandwidth issues. So now in a large country like India, they are not as large as ours. So yes, something is going to change for sure, but how far this technology will be able to carry the weight of a large country, or depending on the requirement, so that is something which we need to see. And I think only time will tell where we go from here.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.